Are you going to be a professional bodybuilder? Are you going to make a tremendous amount of money with this? Do you value your health? Do you value to look that good or put 20 pounds on that much weight? You're going to risk your health, your mental health in that parameter? Is it worth that much? You could get tremendous gains and quality, good muscle and hardness just from Anavar alone. Yes, if you went out there, you did 1,000 mgs a test and 1,000 mgs of this and 600 tren, you would yield incredible gains. The side effects would be tremendous. What is it worth to you? This is what you value. Maybe you can make a tremendous amount of this. Maybe you will be a professional bodybuilder. Maybe it is worth it, all right? But the way I look at it, I'm very conservative, all right? 99% of the people out there are not gonna be professional bodybuilders. That's the 0 point whatever percent, okay? So do it very conservatively. Small amount goes a long way. Hormones are very strong. You will get incredible gains on just Anavar alone. And then again, let's revert back to this, right? Let's just say you threw everything at the barbecue and the kitchen sink in there. Where do you go from there? Your body has a limitation, receptor absorption rate. You raise the ceiling through the top, and now where do you go? You have nowhere to go, all right? So that's why my advice is if you decide to take anabolic androgenic steroids and you want to go that route and take it to the next level, start slowly. You always have room to grow. You'll keep your endocrine system somewhat intact as long as you can, and you will negate a lot of the side effects. You could always add other compounds as you go and keep gaining muscle tissue. Remember, this is what I always say about steroids. See, someone who wants to use anabolic steroids and throw everything in there at one time, you're gonna get incredible gains, yes, but they're living on it as their main tool. They will only gain muscle on anabolic steroids. My view in anabolic steroids is to use it as a tool, not a crutch, to keep gaining, to preserve your muscle and maybe even gain muscle when you're off, and then cycle and gain even more. You're always in the forward motion. When you do a tremendous amount of compounds at one time, and then you come off, you know you're gonna go on the downslide. See, the way I approach anabolics, my mental approach is to use it always as a stepping stone forward. Well, one Anavar for 6 weeks, right, is not a long enough duration of time to get the gains off of Anavar. You see, what people don't realize, even though esters kick in a certain amount of times, it says 3 weeks, last 2 weeks, out in and out of 2 days. I know this from using myself and just over time with experience that it takes a while for anabolic steroids to really start to initiate the effect. So for people out there who expect to see results right away and they're wondering what's going on, did I get bunk gear, etc. So let's just take testosterone, for instance, right? You initiate testosterone into the body. Well, now everybody's a little bit different. Some people might experience things a little faster than others. Some people a little bit longer. First week, you might feel a little energetic. Maybe a little bit of an increase in sex drive. By week 2 to 3, you start to, I feel a little bit of a pump. I'm feeling pretty good. I have a lot of energy. By week 4 and 5, it starts to really roll. Now you're starting to feel that anabolic effect. Now don't forget, now you're at 5 weeks in, that's far. Then when you're at 5 to 6, boom, that's when it starts to kick. So now, even though orals kick in relatively quick, to get all the gains off of Anavar alone cycle, 6 weeks, in my opinion, is not enough. I would choose something like more like a 12-week cycle of Anavar to really yield the results off of Anavar alone. So I just read this cycle that someone posted trying to talk about how they did the wrong and then now, you know, what they realized they would do it in this way, etc. So he rattled off his first cycle and yeah, it was insane. And of course, then he talks about all the negatives. He wished he did not do it, the depression, like I knew he would speak about or knew that he got off of it anyway. It was 600 testosterone, which is high, moderate, 1,000 milligrams of Trenbolone, no good. I would definitely not do that. But then this is what raised an eyebrow, which I've seen this before, is they were stacking multiple orals at one time. Now, people who do or do not know that oral administration of steroids, of most steroids, the steroid has to be 17-alpha alkylated. What that means is that it has to be protected to bypass the acids in your stomach. So what is the 17-alpha alkylation? Now it goes through your stomach acids, so the chemical itself is protected. Now how it goes, it gets passed through your liver. Since it's 17-alpha alkylated, it's rough on your liver. It could cause a little abrasion and raises your liver enzymes. Now it hits your blood. Now it enters your blood. It has to pass through your blood and anabolism happens, nitrogen retention, protein synthesis. Then it has to pass through your liver again. It's 2 passes through. Point of what I'm saying is orals, in my opinion, there's much better options. I don't really love orals because they do pass through your liver, 17-alpha alkylation, and they raise your liver enzymes and could potentially cause some liver cancer, etc. I like injectables as an option always, all right? I feel they work better. They're less toxic on your overall system. You could control your blood levels in certain instances a little bit better. I always like injectables over orals. But not to say that orals are always on the second. They can be useful in certain instances. Okay, the best way I could explain Boldenone, it's the best side dish to your porterhouse, meaning this. Boldenone is a very versatile steroid, all right? It can be used to cut, it can be used to bulk. It is a very good add-on to anything, either if you're doing it with stanozolol winstrol or testosterone to bulk, all right? It's almost like a free safety. It could go with anything. It goes all over the place. It converts to estrogen at 50% of testosterone, so it causes less bloating. So if you're a person who is already extremely hard, even with testosterone use, Boldenone's half the estrogen conversion, you're not going to hold any water with it. Even if someone does have somewhat of a water retention problem, they're going to find that Boldenone is not problematic steroid in water retention category. There are different esters to Boldenone. The most popular is the undesylinated ester, aka Equipoise, has been around forever. First introduced onto the market as a veterinary compound, and now as the years went on, you know, men use it for bodybuilding purposes and sports performance, etc. I'm a big fan of it. Now the thing with Equipoise, most popular ester is Boldenone undesylonate. It has a very long acting ester chain, so the cycles must be long. If you're anticipating gains right away within the first 2 to 3, maybe even 4 weeks, you will be disappointed. Cycles for Boldenone have to be very lengthy in time, the duration of time, at least 12 to 16, maybe upwards a little more weeks to yield the results you're looking for. 500 milligrams of Anadrol a week, okay. It depends the person again with Anadrol. Anadrol again is a base steroid, not testosterone, meaning like it's a good side dish, but I would not put it with everything. Anadrol and decanoate, Deca, will hold more water than Boldenone Equipoise. It's more of an off-season bulker. What is the most attractive thing about Deca is that men with a lot of training experience find that Deca holds a little more fluid into your joints, lubricating your joints and making pressing heavy compound moves to squatting a little easier to do and less painful. Deca being Deca, it is progesterone, could elevate prolactin, progesterone, could have unwanted side effects such as erectile dysfunction, aka Decadic, and could hold some water, like progesterone could hold water and fat just like estrogen. I'm not a fan of Deca. So what I find with Deca, it's either two things. It's usually like an older guy steroid, like guys with like old school guys. You either love it or you hate it. It's either you're an EQ guy or you're a Deca guy. That's what I find. So in my opinion, if you want to try both, one at one time and see what you like. The Anadrols today are not like the Anadrols they were back in the 1980s. Those motherfuckers was sick. You knew those things work because you get nosebleeds and your balls would hurt. May you view it as a good thing or bad, those motherfuckers was sick. Nothing put muscle mass on like real Syntex Anadrol 50, all right? You could put up to almost 30 pounds in a month by using those things. So today, it's like the weaker version of Anadrol. Do I like them? They can be useful, off-season steroid, but I've heard though that guys have been using it in pre-contest to elevate blood levels and to increase that fullness. When you're in a very depleted look, it can do that. I like Anadrol for more of the bulking phases because it could increase water retention. And when you have water retention, bigger muscle in your off-season, you could push more weight, equating to more muscle mass. It's a very, very, very toxic steroid to your liver. So then again, cycles should not be run very long with it at all. But it's an old steroid, very useful. In my opinion, I would choose something like Dianabol over Anadrol. Trenbolone is hands down the most physique-changing, strongest steroid out there on the market. That's why it's so popular. Nothing builds muscle tissue and burns body fat simultaneously like Trenbolone. They always say in prescription, whenever you see cycles written, you know, 300 milligrams of Tren, 300 milligrams of Tren. Years ago when I had no money, I did 150 to 200 milligrams of Tren. And I did it 2 times a week, even though it was an acetate ester, right? Should be done almost every other day, technically. And the results I got from Tren just doing 150 to 200 milligrams was incredible. So even doing 400 milligrams a week, I couldn't even imagine what I could do. I looked like the abomination that came out of a petri dish from that Hulk movie, doing that little bit of Tren and a modest amount of testosterone. 1,000 milligrams of Tren, unnecessary. What people don't realize, there's a certain point where your receptor sites, which initiates all nitrogen retention and muscle growth, get oversaturated. So most of it's not even being utilized. But do you think the side effects get dissipated? No. The side effects are going to be enhanced. Even more abrasion to your kidney stress, liver stress, androgenic shutdown. Now, Trenbolone, from what my experience and seeing with people with the negative results, the side effects are a lot of mental side effects, meaning depression, nightmares, sleepless nights, physical night sweats. So You don't need a lot of tren to get great results. 200 milligrams, 300 milligrams is a perfect number in my opinion for tren.